In a league where the three-point shot gets so much of the headlines, how much in this series will it come down to the paint, making good decisions when you get there, taking care of the basketball, and executing on both ends?
I mean, that's a major priority for us, understanding how we want to take it away, but also how do we get there. I mean, they do a great job of protecting the rim. They've got great shot blockers, great guys that anticipate being at the rim, and their position defense is very good early. So our ability to make the right decision at the rim, knowing who's going to be there and what we can find, and then being willing to step into our shots with confidence.
Knowing the size they have and the rebounders that they have, how important is rebounding in this series? I know you guys finished, I think, second in the league in defensive rebound rate, but under 70% against this team specifically. How important is controlling the glass?
It's huge. I think asking and demanding our guards to get in there and help in the fight, because they've got a job to do, with Mobley, with Allen, I mean, they got guys that fly in there a ton. So we've got to make sure we're doing our job in the details of boxing out and then going to pursue the rebound to be able to finish possessions off.
Darius Garland said that Cleveland's been trying to stimulate the physicality of the playoffs practice this week, grabbing, holding, extra pushing maybe. Obviously you guys play physical throughout the entire season, but was there anything different in practice this week in terms of your approach, or did you handle things as well?
I mean, we've been doing that for quite some time, and so I think understanding that, knowing that going in is what they're prepared for. So we felt it in a lot of these games leading up to to a playoff series. So our guys are prepared from that aspect of it. Now it's just preparing your mindset, knowing what they're calling and what they're not calling, and being able to move on to the next moment, whether you get the call or not.
3 days of practice, everyone's still healthy, or where's the health-wise?
We are healthy right now.
There's been a lot of talk all week. How ready are you guys to put the ball down and finally get the playoffs started?
I think all the teams are. I think, you go through the practice, you enjoy, you embrace the amount of rest that you've gotten, going over 82-game season. You love the amount of time that you get to detail the work and game planning. And then we also know that once that game hits, your game plan kicks in, but then there's also guys that just make plays, and then you have to figure out how to adjust as the series go on. But I think guys are very prepared and very ready just to get to Cleveland, to have the ball go up and be ready to go.
How would you define what a game one is? Is there a certain message you're giving this team of game one is this, or how is that you personally?
Embrace everything that's coming. We know what the arena is going to be like. We know how loud it's going to be. We know how physical it's going to be, and just embrace that moment. Knowing it, no more, no less. The basketball's still round, the court's still 94 feet. The two-pointer is still the two-pointer, three-pointer is still the three-pointer. Free throws are still free throws. And so the ability to go in there understanding that and knowing that, and then being at our best in those moments, let those nerves hit, embrace it, but then enjoy, the work that you've done, but then being able to go to work and get the job done there.
And as far as the rotation goes, is that continuing to be just by committee of what you've done?
It's gonna continue to be by committee for what we've done, and depending on how the game goes, and that's the part of the playoffs. It's a constant adjustment and movement and understanding exactly what fits the right piece at the right time.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Three-point talk gets a lot in the NBA, but how much with this series, with the way that Cleveland fogs up the middle, with how much you guys like to get into the paint, can the paint be a big factor in this series?
I think it's just going to be about us taking open shots. We know that we're capable of making threes, but we know what our superpower is throughout the year, so we try to just put a lot of emphasis on that. But in this series, we understand that they're going to clog the paint a lot. With that being our superpower, so when we get our open shots, it's just to take them. That's kind of been the theme. So I think we'll be all right.
How important are you, and critical of you, in making those threes early on?
What's that again?
How important are you in making those threes early on? How much of a role do you play in helping spread the floor?
I think it's very important. Because usually when I'm in a game, either Jared Allen or Evan Mose be guarding me, who are two really good shot blockers. So I think me being able to space the floor when the time is right, and then being able to pull them out of the paint to give driving lanes for France and Paulo. I think that would be. I think it's going to be very important, especially early on, like you're saying.
When you're going into a series with two bigs, like you said, with Evan and Jared Allen, how important is locking down the glass, preventing second chance opportunities? That's a big factor in the games in the regular season.
Yeah, very important. I think taking out the three-point and limiting second chance points is going to be super important. I think establishing that, in the first game of the series is very important. and withstanding that throughout the whole series. I think it's going to be what wins us this series, in my opinion. So if we can take care of those two things, I think it will give us a really good chance of winning these games.
Everyone's kind of expecting this to be a defensive series.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a lower scoring series.
Yeah.
How much does this group? How much do you relish those kind of games that feel a little bit grimy sometimes?
Oh, I love it. I mean, that's kind of the kind of player I am. Being a good defender, rebounding, mucking up the game. I think especially in it being the playoffs. Not as many fouls going to be called, so I think it's going to be a really entertaining series. For me personally, it being my first time in the playoffs, and then for a lot of guys on the team, a lot of young guys. So I think it's going to be a really good experience for us. But it's something that we prepare for, and we kind of spoke it into existence from the start of the season.
Do you sense any nerves?
Nah. I mean, it just hoops at the end of the day. It's gonna be loud in there. That's what I've been told. So other than that, it's just basketball at the end of the day.
These practices felt a little bit differently than the regular season. Do you feel a different vibe in the building these last couple days?
No. We try not to psych ourselves out too much. Try to look at it as just another game. And just continue to play our style of basketball. I feel like we're very well prepared. We were speaking this into existence at the start of the season, so all of our practices weren't necessarily for the teams we're playing or the teams we're playing that following week. It was to prepare for the playoffs. We're all very much prepared, in my opinion. Mentally, physically, everybody's healthy, so I think we're going into this feeling pretty good.
Wendell, some teams have key guys missing, they're banged up or whatever. Just from a team health standpoint, how good does it feel with where you guys are at right now?
It feels amazing just for our team in specific. Since I've been here, we've had a lot of guys in and out of the rotation. I feel like this might be one of the few times we've had a full team. So, for us to all be healthy at this point in time in the season, I think is very important. And I'm just super excited to see what we can do in the series.
You talked about it Sunday, just having this week off. We know you had the back issues last week. Is that cleared up? Was that feeling good through practices this week?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm feeling really good. I've been doing a lot of treatment with our PT. PT's been taking good care of me, and then me just doing personal things, just to get my body feeling good any way I can. So I'm ready to go. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good for sure.
What do you feel like is the biggest role that you're going to play in this series?
I think defending the rebounder. With our game plan going into this first game, I think it's going to be a really big defensive challenge for me. And also, with them having Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who both average, I think like 2 or 3 offensive rebounds a game. I think it's going to be important that we demand the glass or we command the glass, and I just do a really good job on the defensive end. And offensively, taking my shots when they're open, and confidently, and then just knocking them down.
And Jonathan Isaac, he was on Pod Squad yesterday. He said, he feels like he's the best defender in the league. He feels like it's going to be a big factor for his defense in this series. How much value do you think he's going to play in this kind of playoff?
He's the X factor. We've all believed that. When I first got traded here, I'm like, man, when JR gets healthy, like that's going to take us to a whole nother level. And in this series, I'm riding with him guarding anybody, honestly. So, it's going to be he's going to be the X factor for us in the series for sure.
Bill, after that big win on Sunday, did you take a moment to reflect? Like, when you got traded here, that's kind of what you talked about and dreaming of, is playing in big games and taking this team back to the playoffs. For that to come to fruition, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. 6 years of being right outside the playoffs or not making the playoffs at all. So being in as the 5th seed, it feels really good, and I'm just excited just to showcase it at a national, international level, like how good of a player I am and how good of a team that we got. I'm just super excited to finally play on that stage again, like I was in college all over again. Yeah.